Today on Stock Charts in Focus, we're exploring my absolute favorite way to run and review your scan results in multiple time frames. We're going to do this specifically in ACP. That's our advanced charting platform. Using the multi-chart layouts feature, putting two different time frames up on the screen, daily on one side and weekly on another. We're going to run scans in ACP, click through those results. You're going to see how easy it is to review all those results in two different time frames right there on the screen. Something I love to do, another one out of my own personal toolkit. So we got a lot to cover on the show today. You know what it is. It's all new. It's all here. It's Stock Charts in Focus. All right, my friends, welcome to the show, Stock Charts in Focus. Of course, our product focus show here on the channel where we dig into the site, dive into the features, show you around the tools, and ultimately help you get more value out of stock charts. That's our mission here every Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern time up on the live channel, also on our YouTube channel after it airs up there, and the on-demand platform at StockChartsTV.com. Lots of ways to watch. I'm your host for the show. My name is Grayson Roze, Vice President of Operations here at StockCharts.com. Really good to be with you again for another episode where we kind of reach into a little bit of my own personal toolkit. I get to show you around some of the things that I actively use as a trader, as an investor on stock charts, and this is another example of doing that here on today's show. We're going to take a look at some of the tools and features you can use in ACP, that's our interactive advanced charting platform, to run scans and review those results with the charts right there on the screen. Now, specifically, we're going to take advantage of the multi-chart layouts feature in ACP, which allows you to put two charts or more up on the screen for the same symbol and then flip through a list, whether it's a chart list or scan results or even a market movers list. Lots and lots of different ways you can use this. You can flip through those lists, though, with those charts for the same symbol up on the screen. Very, very useful, and this feature is just very, very cool. It is incredibly powerful. So many different things that you can do with this. This is just going to be kind of one example, a starting place for you, if you will. But if you want to take these concepts and do your own thing with it, maybe you want to put 6 charts of different time frames up on the screen. Maybe you want to put different indicator sets up on the screen. You name it, this show is going to kind of get you started down that path using these multi-chart layouts. You do, if you're not familiar with those, get up to 12 charts on the screen. So it's an incredibly powerful little piece of ACP there. So we are going to have some fun on the show today. Really looking forward to this one. Now, one thing that we're not going to cover on today's show is creating those scans themselves. Again, we're going to run some scans, but in this case, we're actually not going to run through how to build your scans. That's up to you to decide what you want the criteria to be, what you want to put in those scans, what you want to filter the markets for. And we're going to save that for a different episode. But once you have your scans created, once you've put those scans together, taken all that criteria that you want to scan for, and save that to your account, you can run any of those saved scans in ACP, again, in just a couple of clicks. You're going to see that on the show today. One thing we will quickly demo, though, is the predefined scans feature that we've also built into the platform. So you do have the ability to run any of our predefined scans from ACP without having to actually set that stuff up, save it, write any of that scan syntax. Very, very easy to start running scans in ACP. It's actually another one of my kind of favorite places to point people just to get up and running and start scanning a little bit. So we got a ton to cover on the show today. And the other thing is that we're really going to fly through this episode. The reason is that I want to show you how easy it is to do this stuff. We're not going to kind of go into everything in great detail. We're going to click through, we're going to set this all up, and we're just going to really fly through the episode today so that you get a sense of how quick and how easy it is really to get up and running with some of these tools. So with all that out of the way, let's jump over to ACP now and get going. So here we are in ACP, everybody. We've got a chart up on the screen here of Northrop Grumman. But what we're going to start with today, again, we're going to use those multi-chart layout features to put multiple charts up on the screen. Then we're going to start running some scans and reviewing those results. So our first step on the show today is going to be to create a multi-chart layout. Now, in our case, we're going to do this in kind of two different ways. We're going to do the easy way to get one additional chart up on the screen, but then we'll walk through very quickly how you can do this in kind of the more complex way for those power users out there. So in our case, what we want to do is we're going to put a daily chart and a weekly chart of the same symbol up on the screen. We're going to turn on a couple of little features to make sure that those two charts kind of stay in sync. But again, we're going to put two charts on the screen right next to each other, a daily on the left and a weekly on the right. Now, the easiest way to do that in this case, when we're starting with just one chart, is we can come up here and just click this big plus button. When we hit that, that's going to add another chart to the right, in this case, of our existing one chart layout. It's going to take everything that we already have, it's going to duplicate that, and it's going to just put a second copy of that chart. The other way that we can do this, though, is we can come over to the Layouts tab on the left side. If we actually close down the Your Layouts section, you can see that there's a section of this sidebar called Create Layout. So we can actually select the orientation that we want our two chart layout to be. The way this works, you select the number of charts that you want up on the screen, again, up to a maximum of 12. In our case, we're going to want that to be 2. And then we can actually select the different orientation that we want those charts to be in. So if any of you prefer a sort of a horizontal orientation, you can actually just give that a click. Now those charts are going to be laid out a little bit differently. In my case, I like to keep those right next to each other in kind of more of a vertical orientation. So this is the other way that we could get there, is come over to this sidebar on the left, select two charts from that layout, and then select the orientation that we want. Now, the crucial thing that we're going to turn on is down here in the multi-chart settings. There is a sync option, which basically syncs the different charts within a multi-chart layout. And what we're going to want to do, again, because we're going to put a daily and a weekly chart on the same screen for the same symbol, we're going to want to keep the symbol in sync. So when we change the symbol of our daily chart, it's going to change the symbol of our weekly chart. Any two charts on the screen that have the same symbol, when this feature is turned on, those are going to kind of move in lockstep. They're going to move together. So we're going to want to keep symbol sync on. We're going to actually want to turn off something called Chart Style Apply to All. You've got a couple of different Apply to All features down here as well. Same kind of concept. When you make one change, does that apply to everything on the screen, or is it just the one chart that you are working with? In our case, we're going to actually want to turn that off. We're going to turn off the range as well and the color scheme so that we're just making changes to either the daily chart or the weekly chart. Now, from here, what we're going to want to do, again, is get over to a daily and a weekly. We've got our daily up on the screen already. That's kind of my starting place. In this case, that's my default chart. I like to use a daily chart as the default. So we've got our daily chart over on the left, but we're going to want to put a weekly chart over on the right. Now, we could quickly set this up as a weekly chart simply by coming up to the top of the screen and selecting weekly. But in my case, what I want to set this layout up with is actually my preferred weekly chart. So we're going to go back over to the left side of the screen. We're going to open up the ChartStyles menu on the left side. And with ChartStyles, you can take any set of chart settings, including the period, the type, the color scheme, all those good settings, and you can save those as basically a chart template. So what you're looking at here in the Your Styles menu is all of the chart styles or chart templates that I've personally saved to my account. So we're going to come down here and notice that I've clicked over onto that right chart, the right-hand chart. We can see that by the green border that goes around that chart. If I click over to the one on the left, see how the green border moved? So that's how it kind of indicates which chart you're actively working on. So we're going to click over to our chart on the right. And from here, what I'm going to do is click one of my saved chart styles that is a weekly chart. So I'm going to give that a click, and you'll see that the template has now changed just a little bit. If you're looking at that label right there, you can see that this is actually a weekly chart. So we've got a very similar chart. We've got relative strength up top, comparing this symbol to the total market. We've got our price bars down below, in this case actually candlesticks, and we've got a couple of moving averages. Very, very simple chart here. But you can see that this is actually a multi-year weekly chart. And we can drag this down a little bit so those panels are even. That's just kind of me being picky there. But what we have now up on the screen is a daily chart on the left and a weekly chart on the right. and notice that those are actually using the same symbol. So we'll close down our sidebar here. We'll actually come up and make sure that these are set to some of the periods that I personally like to use. In this case, I like to use a 1.5 year chart for my daily, and I like to use about a 5, sometimes a 10. We'll do a 5 in this case, 5-year chart for my weekly. The cool thing though about ACP is that because it is interactive, we can actually use our mouse to zoom in and out through time. So here now we're looking at a longer term view on the weekly. If we want to zoom in, we can do that very, very easily. Now again, because we've turned on symbol sync, these two charts are going to move together. So if I come up here and I type in something like Netflix, you can see that those two change together. We've still got our daily, we've still got our weekly, but symbol sync has kept those two charts in sync. So we've got that same daily and weekly sort of multi-time frame view, and we can now kind of move through the markets charting in multiple time frames. So we can go back to NOC here to kind of get back to our starting place. So that's really how easy it is to set up one of these multi-chart layouts. In this case, again, a daily and a weekly up on the screen. And the very, very cool thing is that we can actually save these layouts. Over here in the layout sidebar, you can see at the bottom of that sidebar, we do have a big green button for saving a layout. So if we wanted to save this as a layout to our account, all you've got to do is hit that save button, type in a name, and decide whether you want symbols saved to that layout or not. If you're using a layout for something like market indexes all on the screen, you might want to save those specific symbols to that layout. If you're using it more as a kind of the chart styles of layouts, if you're using it more as just kind of a layout template, then you can leave that unchecked. Now, in my case, we can actually open up this Your Layouts menu up at the top, and you can see I've actually got a layout saved without symbols that says daily plus weekly. You might notice that it says a level 1 as well. If you're paying attention when I click that chart style, the weekly style that I was using was my level 1 weekly, what I call my level 1 weekly. So if I click this, you can see that that's actually going to reload basically the exact same layout. Again, because you can actually save these to your account. Makes them incredibly accessible. So you can set these up in a couple of different ways on the fly if you want to pick different indicator sets, or if you want to set them up by choosing different chart styles, and then you can actually save them to your account, and you can do that all in one step. So very, very easy to set these things up, save them, and come back to them in the future. So now we've got our daily and weekly layout on the screen, and from here, what we're going to do is simply pop over to the right side of the screen, and we are going to start running some scans. So again, we're going to save writing scans for another episode. That's a topic for a later date. But once you have set up some scans in your account and you've saved those, you can access and run and review all of those saved scans right here in ACP. To do so, come over to the right side of the screen, hit the scans icon kind of at the top right of the screen. And you notice that you now have a couple of different options. You've got two tabs in here. One is for your scans, and that means that this menu down below is going to have all of your existing saved scans, all the ones that you have customized and saved to your own account. You can select any scan from your account, hit run, and you're going to be off to the races getting all those results back. You'll see that in just a sec. The other tab that you do have is for predefined scans. Now, this is an interesting one because if you're new to scanning, you're looking for a place to get up and running with ease without having to go learn how to write that scan syntax. You've got some fantastic options right here in the predefined scans tab for you. So things like new 52-week highs, oversold with improving RSI, gap ups, breakaway gap ups, even some bearish scans. You've got bullish reversal patterns, bearish reversal patterns. This list is huge. And if you know kind of what some of this terminology means, things like island tops or stocks in a new A-rune downtrend, you can simply select any of those scans, hit run, and it's going to return all of the results that match that scan for that day. So very, very easy to get up and running with scans right here in ACP without having to even write any of that custom scanning syntax. Now, in our case, we're showing you kind of my process, things that I do on a daily basis. So we're going to jump back over to that Your Scans tab, and you're going to see how easy it is to run one of these scans and start clicking through those results. In this case, we're going to select a scan from down here that shows us all of the large and mid-cap stocks that have a scooter value over 90. That's our StockCharts technical rank. So these are generally going to be strong stocks that are working well right now, outperforming the rest of the market, outperforming their large and mid cap counterparts. So we've selected our scan. Now we're going to hit that big green button. We have run that scan. You can see that we've got 195 results returned. They're all listed out here with the day's performance values. Super easy to see, and we can actually load any of these results simply by clicking on one of the entries. You can see that when I hover over any of these lines, it highlights a little bit, gets just a little bit darker. So at this point, the only thing left to do is start flipping through our scan results, utilizing that multi-chart layout, the daily and weekly timeframes up on our screen. To do so, all we've got to do is give one of these entries a click, any of them that catch our eye, or we can just start from the top and start clicking through those. You'll see when I click ACHC, that now highlights in blue. And as you can see, we've got a daily view of ACHC on the left. We've got our weekly view of ACHC on the right. So now we can start to analyze and think about this name from two different time frames. We can think about that kind of shorter term, a little bit more narrow 1.5 year daily view, but we can also think about that longer term multi-year look on the weekly chart. We can flip through this list of scan results simply by clicking on those arrows or even by using our arrow keys. And it just really is that easy to start clicking through any of these. We can skip ahead if we want to jump down to maybe something like ASO. Maybe that's one that's caught our eye, or we want to keep flipping through this list. We'll jump down to BE. You can now start to just run through this list, run through all of those scan results with that multi-time frame view up on the screens. The other really, really cool thing that we have available here as part of these multi-chart layouts is the ability to actually maximize and then minimize any of the charts within a view. So you'll notice that when I hover over one of these charts within the layout, there's actually a little button down here with some arrows. That is for maximizing this chart. So if we wanted to really kind of narrow in on the weekly view, we can actually just hover over that chart, hit the maximize button, zoom in now to just that weekly view, really kind of focus ourselves on the weekly view. We can scroll out, get kind of a longer term multi-year view. In this case, we don't actually have that much history here with BE, but we can easily scroll out, get kind of the full picture on just that weekly chart. And then when we're ready, we can either hit that minimize button, same one that we clicked before, the maximize turns into minimize, or we can shrink that chart back down by hitting the minimize button in the top right corner. So very easy to actually kind of blow these up and work with just one view at a time. And if you do want to actually click through this list with just one of those charts open, you can do that. So we can actually set this screen up with our daily and our weekly on the screen. We can then blow up our daily and start to just flip through with that daily view in place. If we come across something that we like maybe BJ's looks good to you, we can say, ooh, I wonder how the weekly looks on this thing. Daily's looking pretty good. Let's shrink it back down. There we go. We've got the weekly, it looks strong on the weekly as well. That is a nice little feature to have. So really easy to work with these. Again, maximizing and minimizing, kind of moving between the daily and the weekly outlook. Again, you can use this for any purpose. If you want to use this with weeklies and monthlies, if you want to use this with different short-term periods, or even you want to use this with two daily charts using different sets of indicators, anything that you can think of, you can do this. You can also set it up kind of like gallery view with the intraday chart in one corner, the daily, the weekly, and the monthly all on the screen at once. You can really kind of get that serious multi-time frame view. For me, I find that the simple view of daily and weekly together on one screen allows me to quickly get kind of that multi-time frame view of any scan results that I am flipping through. And it's really, really nice to be able to see those two different time frames and compare them across all those symbols that I'm reviewing. Personally, I like to find things that are in long-term uptrends on the weekly, going through periods of shorter-term consolidation on the daily and just starting to break out of them. Something like BJ's actually is a great example of that right now. A really nice breakout that we're seeing even in the midst of some market turmoil. We're still seeing BJ's move higher overall, kind of breaking out of that period of consolidation. And when we zoom out, we can see that on the weekly, this has been a real runner really since 2020. So sort of longer term, this thing is in a broader term uptrend, a little bit of short-term consolidation. Now we're seeing a breakout above that. This view, being able to flip through those scan results with those two charts on the screen at once, allows me to see that kind of thing. Or on the flip side, allows me to say, hey, this thing looks great on the daily, but on the weekly chart, it just continues to be a loser year after year, really underperforming the market. So maybe that's one that I'm going to skip, one that I'm going to move on from. In any case, whatever your usage of this is, however you want to incorporate this into your process, you can get creative and start to really use this multi-chart layouts tool plus those scanning features built into ACP to really power up your views, make those scanning routines even stronger. The other cool thing with this scan results panel down at the bottom, you can, of course, save any symbols as you're going. You can save any symbols into different chart lists in your account. Look for the little save icon in the top right side of the platform. But you can also save all of these scan results as well. So if you do want to save these to a specific chart list in your account or merge them with an existing chart list or even replace an existing chart list, you do have those options as well. So you can run these scans, click through all those results, or you can actually save them to a specific chart list, kind of keep track of them and move them around in your account. So that is our show for today. Another little reach into my own personal toolkit. Hopefully you've had some fun kind of seeing some of the tools that I use in my own approach, ways that I am taking advantage of some of these different features in ACP. It's always fun when I get to do that with you on this show, kind of sharing things from my own use of stock charts. Makes it entertaining there. But this really is something that that has just been a powerful addition to my process in the last couple of years since we rolled out ACP and that multi-chart layouts feature. Being able to run those scans on the fly, review those results so easily, and again, flip through different time frames. I find that multi-time frame charting is really the secret sauce at many times. So many technicians talk about multi-time frame analysis. So with ACP, with these layouts, you can really bring that kind of multi-time frame charting into your process on the fly. So easy to customize it. Or, like we mentioned, use it with different sets of indicators. Any way that you want to get creative, you can really start to have some fun with this. I do want to remind everyone, ChartCon signups are open. Our biannual conference, actually haven't been able to do it since 2018. So ChartCon 2022 is now open, but we have an incredible list of presenters. Larry Williams, Linda Raschke, Martin Pring, so many amazing technicians sitting down with us, joining us at ChartCon to share their thoughts on the market, share their thoughts on investing and charting, lessons learned from a lifetime in the markets. So many things happening with this event. It's going to be an absolute blast. So definitely save your seat. Again, members get special pricing. Don't forget that. Special pricing if you are a StockCharts member. So if you're not a StockCharts member, sign up for a free trial, join StockCharts, and you can actually get that members only pricing. You will qualify as long as you are a member, even if you're on a free trial. So definitely sign up. That's kind of the little secret that I'm letting you in on. But definitely sign up for ChartCon. It's coming next month, October 7th and 8th. We are going to have an absolute blast with this two-day conference streaming live on your screen. So StockCharts.com/ChartCon has all the information that you need. You can definitely learn more about it and reserve your seat for the event before it gets up and running in October. Very, very excited about that, though. Of course, we'll have plenty more information for you as we get a little closer to that event. You'll hear more on this show and also in our Chart Watchers newsletter as well. So lots of ways that we'll keep you up to date. I want to thank you again for joining me on the show today. It's been a blast to be with you. I will see you again next Friday for another episode. Again, we do this every Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern time or 12 p.m. Pacific on the live channel, also up on our YouTube channel, and also the on-demand platform at StockChartsTV.com. So always something new. And again, our mission here is just helping you get more value out of stock charts. That's what we like to do with this show, showing you different ways to use the tools, the features, everything that's available to you. Talking process, talking charting, talking routines. We're always doing something here on Stock Charts in Focus. So hopefully you'll join me again in the future for more episodes of the show. Again, my name is Grayson Roze, Vice President of Operations here at StockCharts.com. Been great to be with you. I'll see you again very soon for another episode of Stock Charts in Focus. But until then, chart on, my friends.